more confidence, more energy, play more of a purpose. And if we continue to play like this for the rest of the season, then I think we put ourselves in a good position to be successful.
No, it's still old. That's the problem. It's a very old roster.
Well, their last 3 games was a bad loss to the Bucks, then a close one to the Blazers, and then another close game, a loss to the Warriors.
Yeah, not good.
They play the Jazz tomorrow, then obviously it's the All-Star break. Again, I understand that we're going to cover certain teams differently. Like we do this with the Cowboys. We definitely do this with the Lakers. But there's like no perspective on what's actually happening with this team. I agree with him. I do think that there is a bit of an emotional lift when you know that this is, okay, these are the guys that we're going to war with. Like, this is what we have. We're not making any trades. This is what we have to make work. And that's it. So let's all just like lean into it, squash whatever problems we have and move forward. But at the end of the day, when you look at what the Lakers are and have been through this half of the season, LeBron's missed 17 games. They're 6-11 without him. AD has missed 21 games. They're 10-11 without AD. They're 26-31 and 9th in the West. Through this many games, through 57 games last season, they were 35-22. Anthony Davis and LeBron have been hurt.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook was never supposed to be the one that carried this team. So I think when you evaluate the Lakers, pay attention to, I don't know, the fact that they haven't had LeBron and AD healthy for the first half of the season. Do I think that they're a championship level team? If LeBron and AD are healthy, they can make some things work, but you got to have some perspective on it. Like it's not, there's been a lot that's happened with this team. So repeating as Super Bowl champs is extremely difficult. As we know, it hasn't happened since the Patriots went back-to-back in the 2003-2004 seasons. But Cooper Kupp is confident that the Rams have a good chance to pull it off.
If you're going into a season and didn't think that you could win it all, it'd be a pretty depressing place to play from. So, certainly you go into every year believing that, understanding, though, that there's so much work that has to be done, so much time, so much effort, so much sacrifice has to go into that. So you certainly go in knowing that that's the goal, but like I said, we take a one day at a time mindset.
So Sony Michel, Odell, Brian Allen, Austin Corbett, Joseph Noteboom, Von Miller, Darius Williams, and Matt Gay are all free agents.
Okay, so let's look at that list. So Darius Williams is good but had a bad year. I'd really like to bring Von Miller back.
Yes.
Joseph Noteboom I have to bring back because Whitworth's going to retire potentially.
If he retires, Whitworth has a $17.7 million cap hit next season if he doesn't retire.
So that's actually, not that it's good, but it would be a little bit of a cap break.
Yes.
Brian Allen is a little undersized, but people like him. He rates very highly, so you want your center. You don't want to lose your tackle in your center. So they're going to pay Brian Allen. Odell's in a tough spot. He doesn't have much of a market. He wouldn't be available next year until November, December anyway. And they're not that they're deep at receiver, but they're going to draft another receiver.
And they're going to get Robert Woods back.
Yeah, so I think, to me, Sony Michel was always a rental. He was always a rental. Who do I have to have back? I would say...
Well, you have to keep your offensive line intact.
I would say Brian Allen, Joseph Noteboom, I have to bring back. Darius Williams, I'd like to, but here's what the Rams can sell. It's a great place to live. We have an amazing culture. We have an amazing coach. If you want to get paid top of the market, we're probably not the place.
I mean, yeah, they just won a Super Bowl.
Like Darius Williams, a great example. I got Jalen Ramsey on the other side. I can't have two expensive corners. He didn't have a great year. I may have to move off him. And he's good. He'd be a starter. He'd be a number one corner on a lot of teams.
Well, they're currently projected $14.1 million over the cap next season. So they are going to move some things around. But as we know, the Rams use a different banking system than the rest of the NFL.
Austrian bank.
They have some offshore banking going on. They're always able to make it work and figure it out. They're a great free agent destination. They just won a Super Bowl. They're well coached. It's a well-run culture. So, they can figure some things out. And when you are a well-run team, I think it's easier to plug and play players who might not necessarily be successful with another organization but can come in and thrive there. Especially if you have your core pieces intact, because there isn't the same amount of pressure. Like, to me, that's what happened with Odell this season. He came in, we were like, oh, great situation. Then Robert Woods gets injured, but they have Cooper Kupp, so he doesn't have to be the number one. There's a balance to this team. I think
Odell Beckham was a wonderful story, but in the end, they drafted a young receiver from Ole Miss, a speed guy. He'll be back. The Notre Dame kid's back. Van Jefferson's back. Cooper Kupp's the best receiver, arguably, in the league, probably. And Robert Woods is back. And they'll probably draft another because of Woods, now that injury. So with Odell Beckham, you're going to move. My guess is they'd probably move off the books there.
Well, the injury, we're still waiting on, but the injury is unfortunate.
Whitworth, you save a little bit of money on Whitworth. But I'll tell you what I would do if I ran the Rams. I'd go to Sean McVay's agent, I'd pay him. I'd go to Les Snead's agent, I'd pay him. I'd restructure Aaron Donald. I'd rip it up and give him a new one for 4 more years. And I'd sign Matt Stafford to a year early. He's got a year left. And then I'd keep the 2 offensive linemen. And then I'd just trust my scouts. And I would probably say I would love to keep Von Miller, but you can't be paid top of market. Like, at this point, it's a great place to live. You can make more money on shoes and stuff, but I couldn't pay Von. At some point, the advantage to having a great culture is you can sell the culture.
Right.
This is a great place to play.
Well, in a salary cap league, but this is why people are always questioning how aggressive they are with the draft picks, because eventually you have to pay everybody if you're not leading into really developing draft picks. So ever since Kyler Murray removed all the Cardinals mentions off of his social media, there's been a lot of speculation about his future with the team, although I don't know why, because they can control him for the next 3 or 4 years. But here we are. So the latest report said that Arizona believes Kyler's immature and needs to work on his leadership skills. And yesterday he responded with an Instagram post that said, "I play this game for the love of it. My teammates, everyone has helped me get to this position, that believed in me and to win championships. All of this nonsense is not what I'm about, never has been, never will be. Anyone who's ever stepped between those lines with me knows how hard I go. Love me or hate me, but I'm going to continue to grow and get better."
Well, he has. He has gotten better. He has grown and they win more, so I'd pay him. He's not ideal.
Is the future of this organization. I don't really know what the debate is here. And I just don't want to get into this. We went through this with Dak. Please, look, Cardinals, please don't put us through this.
Wrap it up.
Please. I beg of you. Don't make me talk about Kyler Murray's contract for the next 3 years. I will never forgive you. Yes. Just get it done.
Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.